Yo, what is up, everybody? It is your boy Skywalker OG, and today we are going to be discussing the top 3 legendary commanders that I personally believe every single player in Rise of Kingdoms should expertise. And we're going to be starting off with one of the most original OGs in this game, and that is YSG. We're going to go ahead and start off their skills, and then I'll be able to tell you guys exactly what their uses are and why I say these guys are the most versatile commanders, and one that, whether you're free to play or heavy spender in the game, you probably want to expertise. I feel like you must expertise, but I don't ever want to tell people how they should play their account. So let's go ahead and get into this thing. You have off of YSG Rain of Arrows, which is an active skill, damages up to 5 enemy troops in a circle shaped area, damage factor of 1700. This is the highest damaging 360 huge AoE that we have in the game. Of course, we do have Theodora's, but Theodora's is not as big as a range as YSG's is. Damage dealt to each target is reduced by 15% for each additional target. And then we have the passive skill. Troops led by this commander have a 10% chance to gain extra 100 rage, which is a huge thing for a nuking march. For the next 3 seconds, all archer units led by this commander gain 100% increased attack, which is another very strong boost for archer units. While this commander is leading the garrison of your own city, this one's not too important on the open field. Garrison troops and the watchtower gain 10% increased attack, but this one is very good for those Shadow Legion events, or whenever you're just now starting out on a young kingdom, for like a Sun Tzu YSG garrison if you have tons of troops. And then of course you have his fourth skill coming out, which is his passive skill. Troops led by this commander gain 50% increased skill damage. And then of course his expertise, it just bumps up his damage factor off of his primary skill from 1400 to 1700. Now let's go ahead and talk about why this commander is so highly used still in this game and one of the most focused commanders in the game. And that is because of this skill right here, guys. This first skill is amazing out of YSG. For one, it is the most highest damage nuke in the game. It's not the highest, but it's one of the highest damaging nukes in the game, and it is a 360 AoE nuke that can hit up to 5 targets. 5 targets. Just for sitting next to you, you can get rained on by YSG. It is nuts. It's great for PvP. It's great for PvE. You can go through and start barb chaining barbarians with this commander. I've even seen people use Minamoto and YSG to run barb forts that's near barbs. That way the YSG's AoE gets the barb next to it. I mean, it's the value from his primary skill is insane, and that is pretty much the reason why people use YSG so much even in the game today, and why I personally think that he should be in every single player's repertoire. You should have this man and be able to use him. Whether he's only at 5515 or expertise, YSG should be a commander inside of your inventory. Second up is Alex. Alex is one of those commanders that I personally actually don't like to use. I don't have him on one of my accounts, but I do believe that everybody should have him in the game, and that is primarily because of this first skill that he has. The first skill that he has is one of the rare skills that actually buff up other troops. It will give a shield to actual other marches. It will give a 600 shield to your other lowest, whatever your lowest march is. Whenever he pops this skill, it will give it a shield. I love that. There's not many commanders that do this, that affect other commanders in your march pairings, and that's why I believe he's so good inside of marches, whether you're free to play or pay to win. But of course, let's go ahead and go through his skills, because there's a few others that does make him a big deal. Of course, we have him expertise, so this one changes a little bit. Whenever it's not expertise, here is the first skill. Alexander gains a shield that lasts for 4 seconds, which can absorb a large amount of damage factor of 1200, and at the same time puts up a smaller shield for the allied troops, including his own troops, with the lowest percentage of units in the circular area of effect. The smaller one lasts 2 seconds and absorbs a small amount of damage, 600. Now this means that he can double shield himself, or he's going to pop a shield for himself and then the lowest march you have around you. So if he has more troops, then say you have a Cyrus YSG, your Cyrus YSG would get the shield instead, or one of your allied marches near you. Now, whenever you have him expertise, he'll also bring in a debuff, and during the effect of this shield, up to 3 enemy troops in the circular area take 30% increased damage for 4 seconds. I love this debuff. I do believe that you should have him expertise for this debuff, and because all of his skills are actually very, very good for infantry marches. Let's go to his second skill. While on the map, troops led by this commander are immune to all damage reduction debuffs. That means if you put like a YSG behind him, he's always going to pop that 1700 skill damage because you are immune to all damage debuffs. Any kind of damage reduction will not apply to you. And their normal attacks have a 10% chance to deal an additional damage to the target, damage factor of 1700, and reduce its healing effect by 30% for 5 seconds. This debuff is huge. To reduce a target's healing by 30% is quite massive. That is quite massive on the board. While on the map, infantry units led by this commander gain 30% increased march speed and 30% increased attack. That is another nice buff for infantry. You need that march speed. You desperately need march speed with infantry. When not shielded, troops led by this commander gain 40% increased attack. Well, when shielded, troops gain 30% increased defense instead. I wish this was vice versa. However, it is the way it is. But these last two commanders that I just showed you, YSG and Alexander, they can be behind just about any commander in this game. YSG can literally go behind any fighting commander in this game, and then Alex can go behind almost any infantry fighting commander in the game. All besides, I don't think he works very well with Pakal. I don't personally like Pakal Alex or Alex Pakal. I don't think it goes well together whatsoever. But every other infantry march, they do very, very well together with Alex. And then our last but not least is my boy William. Now, I will say, if you have 2 or fewer cav marches, William probably isn't the route to go. You should probably get that Saladin instead. But if you have over 2 to 3 cav marches, I personally believe William tops off Saladin, because you can get that most of the Saladin buffs out of, or debuffs out of Aethelflaed and Alex, which I think Alex is a more prioritized commander in my opinion. But let's go ahead and get off with William, because I believe everyone's going to think I'm cracked out with this one. But let's go ahead and talk about it. His active skill deals damage to up to 3 targets in a forward-facing rectangular area. Damage factor 1500. Damage dealt to each target is reduced by 15% for additional target after the first. Attacked troops' extra skill damage from buffs cannot take effect, and their march speed is reduced by 30% for the 3 seconds. Attacked troops' extra skill damage from buffs cannot take effect. No extra like buffed up like Cyrus's extra skill damages that he does. None of that stuff's gonna help do anything because of William. That's one thing that I love about William, is he brings in a debuff that most commanders don't have. That's a very, very rare debuff to bring. And then we have the passive skill. All cavalry units led by this commander gain 20% increased attack and 15% increased march speed. When outside Alliance territory, troops led by this commander deal 10% increased damage. Not attack, not defense, increased damage. That's just overall damage. Now you also have, I have him expertise, so we'll have to go to here to see him without expertise. While on the map, all commanded cavalry units attack is increased by 20%. And this is why I say if you have 2 or fewer calves, you don't really have to have William. But if you have more than 2 cav marches, I really think you should have William because of this buff particularly. There's no other march in the game that gives a buff specifically like William's here. While on the map, all commanded cavalry units attack is increased by 20%. Normal attacks have a 10% chance to inflict direct damage to the target, damage factor of 800. If the target is surrounded, it will take extra damage, damage factor number of surrounding troops times 80. Up to 5 surrounding troops are counted when calculating this extra damage. That is insane. That is insane. All your other cav marches get a 20% boost, and normal attacks have a 10% chance to inflict direct damage to the target of 800. It gets boosted up to 1k, and then up to times 100 once you get it expertise. That's huge. That is I think people really highly underestimate this buff, But the Norman Conquest, that is a huge buff. If you go through your actual report details, that is a huge buff. When Hidden Bloodline hits a target, this commander's troops gain 20% increased defense for 3 seconds. When Hidden Bloodline hits 2 or more targets, all of this commander's troops and nearby allied troops gain 20% increased defense and 50 rage per second for 3 seconds. That's 150 rage. That's 150 rage in 3 seconds that you're going to gain, plus a 20% increased defense. That's huge, and that has nothing to do with caps. This is all this commander's troops and nearby allied troops gain 20% increased defense. That is a huge buff to bring to the field. Now, I do believe, like I said, honorable mention here, Saladin is probably better than the William if you don't have if you don't have more than 2 cav marches. If you don't have more than 2 cav marches, I do believe that the buffs that Saladin brings is superior. But if you're running more than 2 cav marches, you should definitely pop out that William. He is my preferred over Saladin. I do understand that William is older or newer to the game, so it is longer to get. But if you're free to play or low spending, which is kind of the target of this video, you shouldn't be able to expertise YSG, Alex, and then need to expertise something else before you're going to be able to get to William. I mean, that's quite a bit of gold heads right there by themselves, so just those 2 commanders. So yeah, I mean, hopefully this answers the golden question from all the free to play that I get in my Discord about what commanders I should expertise. If you do not have these 3 commanders expertise already, you should not even be messaging me. These are the 3 that I personally believe that every single player in the game should invest in. Like I said, William is the only X factor, and that X factor is if you run less than 2 cav marches. Anyways, guys, I hope this video helps you. Until next time, that's your boy Skywalker OG saying peace out and have a good one.